Welcome to Whole CEO with Lisa G. I'm the best-selling author of The Boss Weight Loss. I'm bringing you the top tips to be unstoppable. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to actually pull up a chair with today's top experts in weight loss, mindset, and business. Learn our top tips to set you up for success so that you can have more energy, be fit and resilient, and feel unstoppable. Welcome to Whole CEO with Lisa G. I'm so excited that we're sitting down today with Thomas Russo. He's the town manager of Newton, New Jersey, with over 23 years of experience in government and the nonprofit sector. He previously served as an elected official in New Jersey, currently an adjunct professor at Pillar College, Seton Hall, and Fairleigh Dickinson. Purpose of his book, There Are No Politics in Heaven, is to help people work through their brokenness, improve their lives with faith as the cornerstone. Welcome, Thomas. I'm so happy that you're here.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. It's nice to see you.
Awesome. All right. Well, I know that you talk about some of your faith-based principles in your book, like overcoming obstacles. And what is your personal SWOT mission?
Well, the personal SWOT is a great one, and that goes back to my days at Seton Hall in graduate school. So traditionally, people think of the SWOT analysis for organizations, right? Somebody comes in, usually a consultant, then they come in and say, all right, what are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities? And what are the threats? And when I've kind of turned it on its head. And so when I coach people or when I do my speaking, I ask people to do a personal SWOT, because it's actually very difficult for people to take a 30,000-foot view of themselves and say, all right, be genuine and authentic. What do you really excel at? What do you struggle with? And then how can we find opportunities within those struggles? And what are the challenges to those struggles? And I just find that when people do that, it's very eye-opening for them, because especially if they're at a low point and, you know, their life isn't where they want it to be, either in terms of relationships, professionally, volunteerism, you know, they tend to do a woe is me, pity pot. You know, if one thing is bad, everything is bad.
Right.
And you know, it's my job as an accountability coach and partner to say, no, you know, maybe there's things that are going well for you right now. How can we leverage them, and how can we have those impact the other areas? And, you know, there's kind of 8 areas that I've broken things down into. And I just find the SWOT to be an awesome exercise of honesty and compassion for oneself, to say, look, this is where you are today, but how can we get you to the next level going forward? It works.
Well, I love the leveled playing field that we've all been through so much. And the thing we all have in common is we've all been through having to reinvent ourselves, if not recently, from time to time. So can you dive a little deeper into your SWOT 8 levels so you can help our audience get that 30,000-foot view, and then really seriously deep dive into how they can do better?
Sure. So the 8 areas that I focus on when I meet with people, and I have actually a new program starting in September that drills down even deeper than I've done in the past. So the first one is career and volunteerism. So where are you at in your career, especially now with COVID and the pandemic? Like you said, a lot of people are reinventing themselves. They're reinventing themselves, their businesses. How can they serve the customers better? So I focus on that as a primary goal. Say, okay, where are you at with your career? And then how are you giving back to your community through volunteerism? So that's item 1. Item 2, I call family and friends or community. So sometimes people have great relationships at home, but they don't have the friendships they want, or vice versa.
Right.
So I spent a lot of time working with them, and, you know, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, so it's not about that, but it's about where are you honestly in your relationships with a spouse or a child or a parent, and where are you at with your friendships? Third is finances, and, you know, finances is huge. You know, half of divorces in North America are due to money issues. So having an honest conversation with people about where are you financially, what kind of debt do you have,
That's huge.
How do you
So
value
big.
money? Right. And you know, from the faith perspective, money is not the root of all evil. It's the love of money. So if you put money ahead of relationships and community and these other things, money becomes very elusive and it becomes a negative tool.
I love that.
But if you understand that money is only as good as where you put it, and where you put it shows your priorities, it gets people to think differently about their money. And debt. Yeah, I know we all go through debt cycles, whether it's credit card or mortgage or cars or whatever.
Right.
But the more money you owe to other people is the less money that you can give to the people you want to give it to, whether it's your church or a synagogue or house of worship, a nonprofit organization, family, friends. So if you're sending that check to Bank of America or the mortgage company or whoever it is, that's
Right.
money you could be shifting to a different purpose. So
Mhm.
money in and of itself is not bad. It's how you use it that drives whether it's good or bad. Fourth area, which is huge right now, mental health.
So
Uh,
huge.
Everybody's a wreck with COVID and the pandemic. I mean, we're coming out of it, but the ramifications of it will last for years.
Of course.
And so teaching people that self-care is not a dirty word. Self-care is not a bad thing.
Absolutely.
Focusing on yourself and your mental well-being, it should be a priority. What I tell people is you can't love others if you don't love yourself first. And we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. Fifth item is personal and spiritual development. So, full disclosure, I'm a born again Christian. So my spirituality is the foundation for a lot of the things I do. But I coach people that are not as devout as I am, or they have a different faith system. And it still works because it gets them out of their head and it gets them to focus on a bigger picture and a bigger worldview than it's just always about me.
Right.
Number six, which is your jam, is physical health.
Absolutely.
Okay, I know, it used to be the freshman 15, and now it's like the COVID 15. So, working with people on their physical health, exercise and wellness, and the things that they eat, and all of those things that they take for granted, and now they shouldn't. Number seven, romance and intimacy. So now we're getting into, and maybe sensitive topic for some people, but romance and intimacy is part of being human. It's part of life. So whatever your gender or sex or whatever your relational status, how do you prioritize romance and intimacy with others, and how do you find that to be fulfilling or not? And then number eight, sometimes gets lost in the spiral here of the list, is social and fun. Okay, yeah, life is hard, you have finances, you have all these other things, but what do you do for fun? What do you do to socialize, just to be collegial and just to have a group environment where you can be collaborative, whether it's in terms of exercise or business or anything, whatever you find to be fun, whether it's mentally or physically, making that part of your worldview. So those are the 8 areas. And like I said, sometimes, and what I do with people, and they can do this on their own too. It's easier with an accountability partner, is kind of rank where you are 0 to 10. Because I know some people that are killing it financially, but they're mentally a wreck.
Right, because they're not having enough fun. Like, I think it's all being such a part of the holistic person. When you look at all those 8 slices, I honestly think, that if we're all about business, at the end of the day, no one's going to ever be like, I wish I worked more.
Right. Nobody ever says that. Nobody ever says that when they die, before they die. It's I wish I had spent more time with family, friends, or relational. So, but my emphasis is, and this is a big thing that I push people on, is it's not about, and going back to the personal SWOT, it's not about perfection.
Right.
If the goal is always to be perfect, right, but it doesn't work. I mean, you're a perfectionist, right? You got your business, you got your books and everything, your coaching. I certainly am with my book and all my teaching and everything, but I learned through my journey that I traded I traded perfection for excellence. That I shift my focus away from being perfect, which was a goal that was so elusive. I never hit it. And then it would just frustrate me. I didn't lose enough weight. I didn't make enough money, whatever. And then I said,
perfection doesn't exist. I love that distinction.
You got to focus on excellence, have great relationships, treat your body well with your physical health and the things that you eat. Focus on a great career, focus on abundance, focus on living a great life, have a sense of urgency. Don't take life for granted. It's a gift. So yeah, once I made that mental shift, things changed for me. And I really stress that with people I speak to, or groups. Pursue excellence and not perfection. And it ties right into the SWOT analysis. So
I love that. Well, I actually also really like the part where you talk about giving back to the community, because it's almost impossible to be all about yourself and pity party and this happened to me and I had to rechange everything and pivot and the pandemic, this, if you're if you're actually shifting your focus outward and you're giving back to others. And I know you are big on service and
Sure.
helping others, and I really admire that about you.
Thank
So
you.
I think that's a good way to get people out of their own head about woe is me, isn't it?
I tell everybody it's okay to get on the pity pot, but at some point you got to flush and get off.
I love that.
We all do it. We all do the woe is me. Oh, I didn't get the job. I didn't get the wife. I didn't get this. Oh, I got the IRS on my back. I
All the time. The
can't lose
X
the weight.
this,
Whatever it is.
the other that.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, there's nothing wrong. And or sometimes I say hit the pause button. There's nothing wrong with taking a step back and getting a bigger view of the situation and recalibrating your thinking, because we all have a tendency to, oh, this just happened and it impacts and we get wounded. But the people that are successful, they persevere. That doesn't mean, 5 minutes later, oh, my dog died and hey, I'm gonna go start a business. Like, oh, it doesn't work that way, so that's not what it is. But it's about, okay, life wasn't meant to be perfect. There are going to be challenges. It's how you persevere through the challenges that determines your success. And I teach people to understand that and say, okay, stuff happens. So what do you do when stuff happens? And how do you think about the situation differently, and how can you react? Because I know some very smart people that when something hits the fan, they freeze.
Yeah, you got to respond instead of react. That's the key right there. That's why I wanted to talk to you, because this whole podcast is really about, we've all been through so much. How can you take the lessons and move on and help other people along the journey? So I know you talk also a lot about faith over fear. Do you want to expand on that topic?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. And then just on the last point, yeah, it's a paralysis by analysis, right? People overthink, but then they never actually create any actionable steps to move forward. So I teach people, yeah, it's okay. Something bad happens in your life to, it knocks you on your rear end or it knocks you off your feet. But at some point, you got to take a step back and recalibrate and then keep moving forward. Life, that's why, that's why, the rear view mirror in the car is smaller than the windshield, right? Looking back is small. Looking forward is huge.
We're not going that way. We want to look forward. Always forward. I love that.
Got to. And then, faith over fear. So, for me, faith is everything. I suffered from anxiety and depression and thoughts of suicide years ago. I turned to faith to be my guiding star back in fall of 2015, and it changed my world. Now, I don't proselytize. All right, so we're talking about faith overcoming fear, and the fact that back in September of 2015, I was suffering from anxiety, depression, and thoughts of suicide, and that became the title of the book. There are no politics in heaven. Politics was my drug of choice. I valued politics and titles and adulation from other people above other things, and I realized that was fleeting. That wasn't what life was really about. So when I gave up politics and found faith, it changed my life. It was with faith as my cornerstone, there really wasn't anything I couldn't accomplish. So when I work with others, I meet them where they're at in terms of their spirituality, because everybody's different. But I just teach them to get out of their own head. And there's a study in 2016 that showed that people who have religion or spirituality, they're 50% less likely to suffer from anxiety, depression, and thoughts of suicide. And I said, in the book, if you could bottle it, you'd make millions of dollars. So I think people need to understand that we're all connected from a source perspective or from an energy perspective.
Absolutely.
And that the gift that you get from God or spirit or whatever you believe in, you need to push out into the universe. I use the visual in the book of the prism, right? The line goes into the prism. When it comes out of the triangle, it's a rainbow. It's full of colors. It's very vibrant and lively. And I said, that's your gift. Figure out what your gift is and push it out into the universe. It's only a gift if you give it away. I spend a lot of time with people that I coach about what's your gift. Everybody's got a different gift. And it doesn't matter what your title is. It doesn't matter what your compensation is, or if you're a volunteer or you're a paid employee. You need to take that gift and you need to push it out, because especially now, there's an awful lot of people suffering right now, and it's horrible, and it breaks my heart. But as long as people like you and I are in the game and can speak about urgency and excellence and kind of give everybody a cosmic kick in the rear end, I think change can happen. So
I love your optimism, Thomas. Where can people find you?
Sure. I strong presence on LinkedIn and Facebook, so they can check me out on those two platforms. they can go to my website, nopoliticsinheaven.com, and check out the book, or they can connect with me. I am running a summer program of coaching. So if they email me through the website, I can let them know about the Summer of Excellence program that I've created. It's limited to 10 people. It's 90 days, and it will really help people jumpstart. The sooner they start, the quicker they'll see results. And I want to help people get results.
Awesome. I love the results-driven approach. Thank you, Thomas, for being on Whole CEO with Lisa G.
Thank you. I appreciate it.